I think the key support to the industry and the government is around creating the enabling environment, right, for working conditions and safety at work to be managed. So thank you. And first of all, the ILO and of course Bangladesh, we go back together already for 50 years. So this year actually ILO has its 50 years of anniversary of collaborating with Bangladesh. So it's quite a long time. And we've been working together on many issues around the world of work and what we call the decent work. So not just garment sector and compliance and improving of working conditions, but also on issues such as, let's say, child labor, employment, women's entry to labor market, and a whole wealth of issues around the world of work. But if you're asking what have we done recently and what are we doing together with the government of Bangladesh and the industries in relation to the garment sector in particular, then I think the key support to the industry and the government is around creating the enabling environment, right, for working conditions and safety at work to be managed better, right? I think that's the convening argument. Managed better and means having the right kind of quality institutions that support working conditions and safety at work to be there, right? So these quality institutions, they are typically government institutions. So they are the labor inspection system, they are the how to have oversight and manage safety at work, including industrial safety, right? But it's also about when there are problems in the industry, either individual problems or collective problems, how they are solved. Like what is the mechanism to address grievances and disputes in the industry. And so we at the ILO, we talk about industrial relations, how do employers and workers discuss together, how they solve problems together, and if there are problems, how they are actually solved. So it's the quality of these institutions, and Bangladesh has ventured and initiated quite formidable reforms in terms of labor law, in terms of labor inspection system, and in terms of how to manage safety at work, right? And all this since Rana Plaza in the last almost 10 years, we see quite a lot of solid foundations that are being built. And then secondly, I think it's important to look into how and what are the reforms and what are the changes in relation to the private sector, and particularly the garment sector, right? So I can say that in my time here, I think there's been a huge attitudinal change by the industries for the better, right? So maybe 8 years ago, it wasn't so easy to talk about why it is important to have compliance systems, why it's important to have safety management systems, why do safety committees and participation committees matter. But now, I would say, it is quite easy to talk about these issues, and the industry and the garment industry has invested quite a lot in improving processes, right? And so there's a huge change process which is very much internalized by the private sector, and we see a lot of positive changes in relation to the situation in the garment sector. Obviously more can be done, and not all factories and suppliers in the industry are investing in the same manner, but generally speaking, there's quite a big improvement process that has happened over the years. So in a practical sense, the ILO works very much with BGMEA and BKMEA and the industry associations, right? And so we have a big program called Better Work, which is kind of like our biggest investment in that area. It's a program where ILO, together with IFC, which is the International Finance Corporation of the World Bank Group, we are working in factories together with the factory management to improve the conditions and also to kind of like make sure that the management systems are in place, HR management systems, safety management systems, and other even quality management systems, so that the environment at work is up to the expectations of the law, but also improved even furthermore, right? Because this is really what the modern day businesses should look like, right? If you want to have a performant, productive, functional and competitive business in today's world, you do need to invest in these processes, right? And so the Better Work is our biggest sort of investment in that area. So various kind of training and capacity building programs, which are at all levels. We do also have some very specific investments, but in particular areas, such as addressing gender-based violence, such as addressing mothers and maternity protection. We have a big program called Mothers at Work, looking at improving maternity. We also have initiatives around improving middle-level management, and particularly introducing more women to become middle-level managers. This is something called a GEAR program. And so it just gives you an example of a sort of targeted type of activities that are there. But generally, we believe in working together with the management of the factories to establish the right kind of management systems, something that is internalized in the factories, something that is managed as part of the overall business processes of the factory. So that's kind of like an example of the programs we do. We do also have some initiatives, particularly with the worker side, like the trade unions, looking at how workers understand better their roles and responsibilities, and also, as I was talking about earlier, if there are problems, how can workers address those problems, and where can they go to get support if they have issues that they wish to raise.